In the wake of the deadly siege at a Russian school last week, Russian officials say they are prepared to take preemptive strikes against radical Islamist terrorists in any region of the world now. More than 300 are already confirmed dead from that siege. The final death toll is expected to reach as many as 600 people, many of them, if not most, children. Now to discuss this recent act of terrorism in Russia, its impact on the global war on terror, and its influence on international relationships, I'm joined by Dimitri Simes, president of the Nixon Center, and Ivan Eland, senior fellow at the Independent Institute. We thank you very much for being here, gentlemen. Let's, if I may turn to you first, Dimitri, the situation in which Vladimir Putin finds himself with an attempt at a separatist movement in Chechnya, terrorism that is rising and is even more horrific with each incident. What is he to do? Is he pursuing, as best you can discern, a correct course?
Not quite. I agree with him that he should not negotiate with the so-called separatists. Separatist leaders are either outright terrorists or people who cooperate with terrorists. And most important, if you look at public opinion polls in Chechnya, I mean really credible, independent public opinion polls, they suggest that most Chechens are tired of the war. They are reconciled to being a part of Russia. There is no reason for Putin to talk to Chechen separatist leaders. On the other hand, there is every reason for him to encourage genuine political process in Chechnya and to allow new leaders to emerge who are prepared to be a part of Russia, but who want a modicum of democracy. So far, his performance on that was very weak.
Excuse me for interrupting, but we should point out to our viewers that Chechnya, as an autonomous unit of the Soviet Republic, has been part of the Soviet Empire and Russia, in point of fact, for 150 years, almost 150 years.
Lou, that's quite correct. And they recently had presidential elections in Chechnya. They promised these elections to be credible, to be fair. They were not. And it really discourages a lot of Chechens and damages Putin's effort to encourage Chechens to participate in a war against the terrorists.
Ivan, Vladimir Putin, the Russian government today made it clear. They are going to go after radical Islamist terrorists, those associated with the Chechnyan separatist movement, those they hold responsible for the violence that has been exacted on their population anywhere in the world. Is this a turning point in the war against global terror?
Well, I think we shouldn't have a global war against terror. I mean, the Chechen terrorism is a localized conflict, and I think our fight against Al-Qaeda, we should concentrate on that, the United States, and I don't think that either the United States or Russia should be fighting a global war against terror. We need to fight the people that are, attacking us and let the other countries like Russia deal with their own problem.
Those people who are attacking us are?
Well, Al-Qaeda, and I think we need to go after them. We can't just make a blanket statement that we need to fight radical Islamic terrorism, because frankly the Chechen problem doesn't really affect us too much, and it's a Russian problem.
As is the fight against Al-Qaeda for us, except presumably 10 of the people the Russians discovered in that schoolhouse who carried it out were from Arab states. Apparently, it's early, but suggesting that a part of Al-Qaeda or Ansar al-Islam. What is your reaction to that?
Well, there always has, I think, been some Al-Qaeda connection with the Chechens, but Al-Qaeda is a big organization. It has a lot of local groups which are usually concentrated on local targets, but the fact that we can't fight all these people, and I think we need to concentrate on the ringleaders of the Al-Qaeda proper, and we need to, certainly we can help the Russians with law enforcement and that sort of thing, and we can trade intelligence with them on our respective problems, but I don't think that the President is right in making this a global war on terror. Are we going to fight Hamas, Hezbollah? Are we going to fight the Irish Republican Army? Are we going to fight the Chechens? I think we need to focus on the main trunk of Al-Qaeda and neutralize it both through law enforcement and, if we need to, as a last resort, military action.
Dimitri Simes, do you agree that that's an approach for the relationship between the United States and Russia in particular, and the war on I happen to agree. I can't. I do not like the term war on terror, but for different reasons. I think it should be straightforwardly a war against radical Islamist terrorists.
Well,
your thoughts, Dmitry?
I agree with Ivan up to a point. Clearly, nobody is asking the United States to fight against the Chechen separatists or against the Irish Republican Army. That's not a credible proposition. It's not needed. On the other hand, there are a lot of intelligence exchanges, and I don't agree that the Chechens are not a problem for the United States. Quite a few of them were trained by Taliban, by Al-Qaeda, fought in Afghanistan against American forces. The Chechen terrorists in many places in Europe planning attacks against the United States. These people are interconnected. We have to hit them both separately and together.
Dmitry Simes, Ivan, we thank you very much for being here. Ivan Eland, Dmitry Simes, for sharing your thoughts. Come back soon, because this relationship between the United States and Russia, it's a critical juncture, it seems, to many, and we appreciate your insights. Thank you both.
Nice being with you.
Just ahead here, life without Latinos. That's the promise behind the controversial comedy A Day Without a Mexican. I'll be talking